Hey, I'm Antonio Neves with the Dot News. A 2008 report from the government says that abuse of prescription pain medicines is the only form of drug abuse on the rise among teens. Part of the problem, according to the study, is that 2/3 of parents don't talk to their kids about the dangers of abusing prescription drugs. Todd and Debbie learned about their son Tim's addiction to prescription pain medicines when he was arrested.
I think we missed all the signs. I always thought, I'll know. Of anybody, I'll know what's going on. I'll be able to see it, and I didn't see anything.
Todd and Debbie saw a change in Tim's behavior, but they thought it was just the normal struggles some teens go through. Tim was able to keep his addiction secret for a long time.
I'd get like a certain amount of money every week, either on Sunday night or Monday, and I'd end up, on Tuesday I'd not have no money at all. Like I'd use all of it on drugs and then.
Tim didn't start out abusing prescription pain medicines. He started with alcohol, then moved to marijuana, then on to pills. He thought the pain medicines were safer. That is a common misconception, according to Susan Foster of the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse at Columbia University.
So there is sort of a sense that there's not a lot of consequence associated with use and abuse of these drugs, but all you have to do is look at the increase in emergency room visits linked to these drugs and in deaths linked to accidental overdose to see that these are not harmless substances.
Under a doctor's supervision, prescription medicines can be highly effective in treating pain. But Nora Valco of the National Institute on Drug Abuse warns that misuse can lead to addiction.
What I would say to parents having a kid that has an addiction problem is, first of all, recognize that drug addiction is a disease of the brain. That is not that their kid just wants to have fun or doesn't listen to them.
Researchers have found that for teens, abuse is especially dangerous because their brains are still developing. Most of that development is in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that controls judgment. Abuse can lead to risky behavior, poor performance at school, low energy, isolation from friends and family. Roberta Norwood's daughter, Haley, became addicted to prescription pain medicines during high school.
She was in her room a lot. We used to spend a lot of time cooking, and she didn't sit there with me. We could hardly get her to do anything with us.
Roberta told me she knew something was wrong, but not what.
I knew that Haley was smoking pot, and I thought, it's experimental, it's no big deal, she'll move on and get what she needs to done.
Parents have got to be aware that all of these drugs are not rites of passage. You don't need to do these drugs to be a normal teenager. So there's a prevalence in a lot of homes that says, well, he's only doing pot, so I don't have to worry because thank God he's not doing or she's not doing cocaine. So even amongst parents, there is an understanding of hierarchy of the drugs.
Dr. Ralph Lopez specializes in teen medicine in New York City. His advice for parents: get involved and stay involved in your child's life.
Your job is to find out if your son or daughter is doing drugs. You've got a job as a parent to deal with it.
There's an understandable reluctance on the part of any parent to want to admit that their child is actually involved in these behaviors. And so often parents are the last to see it, or they're last to acknowledge that it's there. It's really important for parents not to let it get that far because they have the greatest impact on both preventing their children from going down that path and getting them help when they need it.
Susan Foster also says it's important to make sure everyone in the family understands that doctors prescribe medicine based on specific criteria: age, weight, condition, and other medications. That's one of the reasons unused prescriptions shouldn't be kept around the house or shared.
Any prescription medication that was left from the past, throw it away, dispose of it appropriately. Do not leave it in the cabinet. That's a lot of temptation for adolescents.
The experts agree that parents should talk to teens about drugs to give them the information they need to make choices.
Scare tactics aren't particularly effective. What seems to work is providing enough information. You have to provide critical thinking skills. You have to give them skills to resist their peers.
Everyone wants to believe that our kids are great. We trip over ourselves making excuses for their bad behavior, for their the way they look, for their underachieving, for their whatever it is. But we have to be real and not make excuses for our kids' behavior.
You know, I guess I would have thought a while back that, you know, the image of a drug addict is some, you know, greasy-haired kid or guy, a single bulb, light bulb, dim room, dirty and all that stuff. That's where a drug addict is. It's more typical that the kids they're young, taking drugs in a basement, flat screen TV, watching DVDs. It's not what people think.
I'm Antonio Neves for the Dot News.